Okay, Robin, I want to talk to you a little bit about Thursday, the 12th of September, 2019. Did something happen on that day?
Yes.
Can you tell us what happened?
Antoine was supposed to pick Destiny up from school, and he did. Instead of keeping her till around 7, he came to my house instead and started acting irate because I had a new boyfriend that he didn't know anything about.
And how soon was this after he picked up Destiny from the school?
Not very long.
And so he was coming and dropping her off. Is that what happened?
Yes.
And did he and Callie get into a little argument out front?
Yes.
And as a result of that, did you ask him to leave?
Multiple times.
And did he leave?
No, sir.
As a result of that, his not leaving, what did you do?
I went into my house and got the gun and brought it outside and asked him to leave.
And what did he do in response to that?
He took the gun from me and he took it apart
And what did he do with it?
and threw it on the ground.
And what did he do after that?
He went to his car and attempted to back up and hit me.
And then he left.
Correct.
And what happened to the gun on the ground?
Callie picked it up.
Let me stop you there. Callie is,
My boyfriend at the time,
and his name is?
Daniel Hensley.
Okay. And he picked it up.
Yes, sir.
And what did he do with the pieces?
He put it back together.
If he hadn't been there, would you have been able to put the gun back together?
No, sir.
So after Antoine left and Callie picked the gun up, what did the two of you do?
We went inside where the kids were.
And who had the gun at that time?
He did.
Did you ask him to do anything with it?
I told him to put it up because I had to tend to my kids.
And had you ever told Callie where you kept that gun?
No.
And where did that gun come from?
Callie,
Why did he give you a gun?
because of the abuse from Antoine and from the rape.
And what was it that caused him to want to give you that gun?
Because I was scared and having nightmares.
And how long did you get that gun before this incident happened?
Just a couple months.
And once he gave it to you, did you do anything with it when he gave it to you?
No.
And where did you put it?
In my closet in a black bag.
And in that couple of months that you had that gun, before September 19th, or say on September 19th of 2019, did you touch that gun again after you put it in the closet?
No, sir.
Did you go check on it regularly?
No, sir.
Had you ever fired the gun?
No, sir.
And on September 17th of 2019, when you were speaking with Wardlaw, and he told you several times that Gavin could not have reached that closet shelf, right?
Yes.
And you told him that he had gotten to the closet shelf because he would sometimes put on your high heels.
Yes.
Okay. So when he told you no, that wasn't true, do you recall what your response to him was?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
I told him that I assumed that Gavin had either moved a stool or the gun was not where I kept.
Take a second there. I want to make sure the jury hears either Gavin moved the stool or what?
The gun was not where I kept it.
you told the police, you told Riddle at the house, and then you told both of them in the interview room that you suffer from PTSD.
Yes, sir.
And is that true?
Yes, sir.
And are you being treated for that?
Yes, sir.
And when did you get this diagnosis of PTSD?
After I was raped.
And are you receiving counseling?
Yes, sir.
And I think we all know at this point that you have medication for PTSD.
Yes, sir.
On that interview on the 14th of September, probably 3:30, whatever it was, in the morning, as that interview was ending in the KPD building, they went through your purse, right?
Yes, sir.
And you had a lot of bottles of pills in there. And were you prescribed all of those?
Yes, sir.
And were they in their prescription bottles?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but we're going to talk for a minute about the rape. When did this happen?
March of 2018
And where did that happen?
in Kingsport, Tennessee, at a landfill where I was doing community service for failure to appear on a speeding ticket.
And so you didn't show up for court on a speeding ticket, and a judge ordered you to do this community service.
Yes, sir.
You recall how much community service he ordered you to do?
30 days.
And how did you get to this landfill every day to do this community service?
An officer would drive us on a bus.
And what were you doing at the landfill?
We were going through recycled cardboard to make sure there was no trash in it.
Okay. And at some point, were you asked to do another job rather than do the cardboard?
Yes.
What was that?
Clean the offices of the people that worked at the landfill because they were sick and not there.
Okay. And is that where this sexual assault took place?
Yes, sir.
And the person who did that was the person who drove the bus?
The officer that drove the bus and was supposed to be overseeing us.
And you asked to prosecute that case.
Yes, sir.
And to your knowledge, was that man ever charged with the rape?
I assume so, yes.
You know that he ended up pleading to making a false statement to the police, to the TBI.
No, sir.
Didn't know that. Did the prosecutors up there ever talk to you about that case, resolving it?
Resolving it, they wanted to not prosecute him and just give me money.
And there was eventually a civil lawsuit. It was not a civil lawsuit, it was a civil settlement. Is that
Yes.
correct? And you got paid, how much money total?
Like $13,000.
Okay. Let's go back for just a moment to the 12th of September of 2019. Where did you get the gun from on that day?
Out of the closet of the black bag.
Okay. And where did you put the gun afterwards?
I did not put the gun up. I gave it. Kelly picked it up after Antoine took it apart.
And he did what?
I assumed he put it up.
Okay. So, on September the 14th of 2019, did you know where that gun was?
No, sir.
Why did you tell them that it was in the black bag on the shelf in the closet?
Because that's where I kept it.
Now, I'm going to shift to September 14th of 2019. You called 911 at about 8:53, 54 in the evening. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What had you and the kids been doing that day?
We went to Chuck E. Cheese, a friend of mine's, and to the park.
And which park was that?
A park in Carnes.
And the police found that kind of odd that you would drive all the way to Carnes to the park rather than going to Fountain City, which is just a few blocks from your house, right?
Yes,
Well, why did you go all the way to Carnes to the park?
because it was more modern. The things to play on at Fountain City Park were broken, and I didn't want my kids to get hurt.
So, you remember about what time you went to the park?
Around 7,
It takes how long to get there each way?
about 20 minutes.
And before leaving, had you done anything to start getting prepared for dinner?
Yes, I put a roast and carrots in the crock pot.
And what time did you get home?
About 8:40, 8:45.
And so when you got home from the park, what did you do?
I brought the kids in because they were asleep
Did you bring them in together or separately?
separately.
Okay. And you parked your car and brought the kids in, right?
Yes,
And then later you went back out to move the car.
Your
yes.
Honor, we're just not letting the witness.
When you came home, do you remember where you parked?
Yes, right in front of the sidewalk.
Is that where you normally park?
No,
Why not?
because the mailbox is there, so the mailman can't get to the mailbox.
And that doesn't make the mailman happy, does it?
No,
So, was there a time at which you went back outside to the car?
yes.
What were you doing?
I was smoking because I do not smoke in my house around my kids.
And what else did you do?
I moved my car.
Okay. And you've seen that video from the neighbor's porch, right?
Yes, sir.
If you hadn't seen that video, would you have known any of those times?
No, sir.
And after you get the kids inside, there's a fellow that comes to your door and he's there for 63 seconds or so, right?
Yes.
Do you know who that was?
Yes.
And who was it? Don't tell me, don't say the last name because it's being broadcast, but if we need to, we can get that from.
His name was Jay.
Excuse me?
Jay.
Jay. And why was he there?
He was getting payment from where he tinted my windows on my car
When did he tint the windows?
the day before
And why didn't you pay him on Friday?
because there was bubbles in the tint and I wanted to know if they were going to go away or not.
And did he come and fix that or did he just,
No, I didn't pay him as much as he originally asked me to.
so after you got through dealing with Jay, what happened? What did you do?
I made sure the kids was okay and I went outside to smoke and move my car.
When you came back from moving the car, what did you do?
I was walking up to my house and it's a glass door and I seen a flash of light go off. And when I walked in, Gavin was screaming and crying. And the gun was on the ground.
There's some tissues up there in that box. And did you see where Destiny was at that point?
Yes, she was on the couch.
And was she moving at all?
No,
Did you try to speak with her at all?
multiple times.
I'm sorry.
Multiple times.
And did she ever respond to you at that point?
No, sir.
No. What was going through your mind at that moment?
Couldn't fucking believe what was going on.
What did you do?
I got the gun and I took it outside
Why did you take it outside?
because I didn't want it to cause any more harm.
And if the video shows that that happens at about 8:53:53, and at 8:53:54 you're calling 911. Do you recall if you were doing those two things at the same time?
Yes, I was.
And after you put the gun outside and came back in, what did you do?
I got a towel and put it on Destiny.
And when the officer, you saw the video when the first officer arrived, Officer Cummings, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he testified that when he walked in the door, that you were sitting on the couch near Destiny on the phone.
Yes, sir.
Who were you talking to on the phone at that moment?
The 911 dispatcher.
Do you remember what the last words you said to the 911 dispatcher were?
They're here.
So when he walked in and saw you on the phone, that's when you're telling 911 that they're here.
Correct.
Now, we're going to talk about that 911 call. When you made that 911 call, did you know Destiny had been shot?
Yes.
And you told them that a black male, unknown black male, entered the door and fired a shot and shot Destiny.
Yes.
Why did you tell that story to 911?
Because I didn't want Gavin to live with the fact that he had shot his sister for the rest of his life.
The story that an unidentified black male had shot from the door was not true, was it?
No, sir.
And you remember the interview that you had that night later on, right?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember Mr. Riddle telling you that saying a black man shot your child was racist? He thought that was racist.
Yes, sir.
Are you racist?
No, sir.
Callie is your boyfriend, right?
Yes.
What race is Callie?
African American.
What race is Destiny's father, Antoine?
The same.
And Gavin's dad, African American?
Yes, sir.
And let's be honest, your two children, what race are they?
They are biracial. White, African American.
And let's talk for a minute about this gun outside the house. You did put the gun outside the house, right?
No, we just not leaving around.
Yes, sir.
Is the objection to
Leaving.
don't leave?
You've heard this testimony about this gun and where it was outside your house, right?
Yes.
I'm going to show you a picture of that gun, which is in a collective exhibit 26, and ask you, do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
Okay. Is that where you put that gun?
Yes.
Beside that shrub?
Yes.
Was it your intention to hide the gun under the shrub?
No.
Were there other shrubs back further along that wall?
Yes.
How long after the shot did you take that gun out of the house?
Not very long at all.
Have you ever been at the presence of a shooting before?
No.
As you were on the phone with 911, how would you describe your mental state?
Not very well at all.
Would you say you were thinking clearly?
No, sir.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what happens right after the police show up. You heard Officer Cummings testify. Is that how Destiny got out of the house?
I didn't realize that till that video.
You didn't realize that he's the one who carried her out? And there was no ambulance at that point, was there?
No, sir.
And what were you dealing with at that moment?
Gavin.
Were you allowed to go to the hospital with her in the ambulance?
No, sir.
Why not? Do you know?
The cops insisted that they would take me.
And eventually did they?
Yes, sir.
So you heard that statement, the recording of the statement with Investigator Riddle at the house, right?
Yes.
And it was right after that that you were taken to the hospital.
Yes.
The state just went through a bunch of phone calls and texts that you had made from your phone that evening.
Yes.
And we've talked, and you saw the video, and it's about 9:21:30 that you leave the house in the police car.
Correct.
And there are several calls at 9:03 and 9:21 to Tab.
Yes.
Who is Tab?
One of my friends,
And her first name is?
Tabitha.
Okay, that's thus Tab. Why were you calling Tab at that point?
To get her to come and get Gavin.
And you called Callie, right?
Correct.
And on one of those text messages, you also asked him to go get the gun.
Yes.
What were you calling him about?
I wanted him to come to the hospital.
So that's who you were talking to in the back of the squad car.
Yes.
Do you know what time it was when you got to the hospital?
No, sir.
And did you see Destiny at the hospital?
No.
But at some time, a doctor came out and talked to you.
Yes.
And what did that doctor tell you?
That my daughter had passed away.
And you heard Officer Wardlaw today testify about your reaction.
Yes.
Was he accurate?
No.
What was your reaction when the doctor told you that your daughter had died?
I kept on telling her there's no way that it could be true.
Did you believe at that point that it could be true?
No.
How would you describe your mental state in that moment?
I was in hell.
And where was your mother was still alive at that point, wasn't she?
Yes.
Where was she?
In our home in Bristol.
And what was what physical condition was she in?
She had her leg amputated about a year before.
After you got that news from the doctor, where did you go next?
To the police station.
Did you ask him to take you there?
No,
Why did you go?
I had to.
How'd you get there?
In a police car.
As you were sitting in that interview room that we've seen on video here, what was your state of mind at that point?
Distraught, heartbroken, devastated.
Had you come to grips yet with the fact that your daughter was dead?
No.
Okay, let's talk for a minute about these interviews you did there at the KPD.
Yes, sir.
Do you know how long after that doctor told you that your daughter was dead that you were talking to those officers? Do you know?
No, sir.
Do you remember how you got into that room?
No.
Do you know what floor you were on?
No.
Do you remember getting into that interview room?
No.
Did they ever offer to let you leave and go talk to somebody or review some notes or?
No.
And pretty early on, you told them you were scared there.
Yes.
And why did you tell them that? What was making you feel scared?
Because I had been raped by a police officer and I felt threatened because of the situation.
And then you've seen this. You were there.
Yes.
And you've seen the videos of our friend Detective Riddle and his response to that. Did that help to calm you?
No, sir.
Did it help you to feel like the police were there really to help you?
No, it proved to me that exactly how I felt was adequate.
And you told them a lot of things during those interviews.
Yes.
Do you remember a lot of it?
No.
Why wouldn't you remember it? Wouldn't it be important to you to get good facts to the police in this investigation?
Sorry again, I'm trying not to, but we can just not leave. Just ask.
No more questions.
I won't leave, Judge. Did you tell them some things that weren't true?
Yes.
Did you know you were telling them some things that weren't true?
Yes.
Did you not know you were telling them some things that weren't true?
Yes.
While you're in that room, have you yet put these pieces together that Destiny is gone?
I still don't want to accept it.
And where was Gavin at that point?
With a neighbor.
In that first interview, we have established through the proof that the hospital declared Destiny dead at about 10:06. And at 11 o'clock, you're in the interview room. Is that how you recall that time frame?
I have no idea the time frame.
But if I tell you it's within an hour of your leaving the hospital, would that surprise you?
No.
Judge, if she doesn't know, I'm trying to help this woman get through this story.
Ask open-ended questions. She's your witness.
On your second interview on the 17th, where had you come from when you arrived at the KPD?
From planning Destiny's funeral.
While you were at the hospital, you've heard the testimony of Miss Sands and Detective Wardlaw. Were you trying to give your phone away?
Yes.
Why?
Because it had text messages of me selling drugs.
Did you think they were going to arrest you for that?
Yes.
And it also had the text on there about the gun, about asking somebody to go get the gun. Is that
Yes.
right? Why were you concerned about getting that gun away from the house?
Because I knew that that was the gun that Gavin used to shoot Destiny, and I was trying to protect him.
Now you heard a lot about the fact that you changed your story.
Yes.
You went from the unknown male to Antoine did it.
Yes.
And again, did you tell them Antoine did it in that interview?
No.
Who brought Antoine up?
The detectives.
And how were you feeling about Antoine at that moment?
Not good. I feel like he tortured me.
But still, when they asked you, do you think Antoine would do it the first time, what did you tell them?
No, I knew he didn't do it.
So were you trying to throw Antoine under the bus?
No.
When you told them he didn't do it, did they stop talking about Antoine doing it?
No, sir.
What happened when you finally said, you're right, I can't take it anymore? What happened?
They became positive and stopped screaming at me. When you told them you had PTSD, did anybody ask you anything about
what that was or how you got it, or if you were in treatment or anything?
No, sir.
And that was diagnosed and you got medication prescribed after the rape.
Yes, at Helen Ross McNabb.
Now, the state gets up and shows you a judgment saying that that man pled guilty to making false reports to the TBI. What did he do to you?
He raped me.
And eventually, in your discussions with the police, you told them that Gavin did it.
Yes.
And do you recall what they said would happen if you kept saying Gavin did it? What that would subject Gavin to?
Not right off, no.
Do you remember the term forensic interview?
Yes.
Did they say that once or more? I'm asking her if she remembers the term, Judge.
Leading, Mr. Bailey, don't lead.
Did you know anything about what a forensic interview was?
No, sir.
Have you seen that video we sat in court and watched?
Yes, sir.
Over the period of time from the shot being fired on the 14th of September to your last interview with them on the 17th of September, what was your goal in talking to the police?
To protect Gavin.
Did it ever occur to you that as a result of that, you would be sitting here in a courtroom being tried for first-degree murder?
No.
Objection, Your Honor.
And
Not being charged for.
She said what her goal was. You can cross-examine it.
Why didn't you think you'd be sitting here in trial?
Because I didn't have anything to do with the shooting of my daughter.
Did you shoot Destiny?
No.
Did you shoot that gun?
No.
Did you intend for that gun to be in a place where your kids could get to it?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Howington. The state's probably going to have some questions for you.
Yes, sir.